Hello, here we go. It's the Cop-Eye Podcast.
What's happening, everyone, and welcome back to another Cop-Eye Podcast and quite a belated review of Saturday's game. We're now Monday, but yeah, we're here. I'm Mick, and I'm joined by Dave from Dave's LFC Chat. Dave, how are we doing?
I'm all good. I'm all good, my friend. Listen, 7 points out of 9. We're going to get into it. I know a lot of people aren't happy at the moment, but I'm grand. I'm happy enough with a 7 out of 9. I'm happy with it. I thought we played well.
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, I saw a few people, not people that I know really, just like getting a bit irate, and I was like, a bit mad really. But yeah, and before we get stuck into the game, what were your thoughts on before the game? Obviously, team news wise, Harvey Elliott started. That was a surprise to me, especially after the Burnley one, and also Jota dropping to the bench for Bobby was another surprise to me, really.
They were the two big surprises. I had a feeling Simicas might go once Robertson was fit. I would have started Jota. I know it's hindsight and all that, but like Jota was on fire in the first two games. Why would you drop him? You know, it didn't work in the end, did it? But Elliott in a big game like that shows confidence. That shows Klopp really, really has confidence in you to play starting against European champions and to turn up as one of the best players for Liverpool on the day. To see, to shine. One of the only a few players for Liverpool that actually shone on the day. I mean, I was surprised, though, to be fair, starting Elliott. I was.
Yeah, because he did, like, when I went to the Burnley game and I saw that he was starting, I was like, this is a mad one, but it just shows the trust Klopp's got in him to throw him back in against Chelsea. That was the person I least expected to start, to be honest. Like, when I was doing, like, I don't know, team predictions, it was always Fab Hendo and Keita or Thiago, and that was the only kind of variation that I was thinking of. But yeah, he was one of the few players. I mean, not one of the few players, but he was one of the players that, like we said, didn't expect to start. But he did do really well, didn't he? Like, I think he covered the most ground on the pitch, like nearly 11k during the match, which is that's like Millie standard, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you know what it is as well? I heard Klopp in the interview after saying he loves calling it triangles and he loves going into like shapes. That the triangle was lovely between Salah, Trent, and Elliott is what he's talking about. Elliott and Salah seem to be getting a little partnership going there as well, don't they? The little 1-2s, the layoffs, looking for each other all the time. You've noticed that. I mean, if Salah starts looking for you to pass the ball, you're doing something right at an 18-year-old. You know what I mean? Even that's enough to go, wow. But I just listen. We'll get into it about the game, but I mean, stop-start. It was probably broke into about 4 different sections, that game, to be fair. There was 2 different sections in each half. But Salah, for me, Elliott, going forward, look like they're really, really a lovely little partnership going forward. And I think that's what Klopp sees. And that's why I think Klopp's starting them, because it just gives us something different in midfield. Just gives us something totally different in midfield. It gives us a threat. It gives us a ball through. And I think Salah likes actually playing with him. Salah looks happy playing with him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's something to feed off and, move, He's on the same wavelength, basically. Salah and Elliott are on the same wavelength, and I think that helps the team.
Yeah, it's a big compliment, isn't it, when you getting given the ball? And I think even like Tony Mowbray, I mean, no, Blackburn and Liverpool isn't really a similar comparison in terms of quality, but
yeah.
I think their manager even said last year when he was there, it was just the plan was give the ball to Harvey Elliott, which, I mean, probably it's not fair to probably do that in the Premier League, but he's more than holding his own, isn't he? And like you said, those little triangles and seeing Trent in more of a central position, basically being a midfielder at times, wasn't he? Which is, like you said, it's a different way of playing. And obviously, I imagine against Leeds, we'll probably see maybe Keita or Thiago coming for him, and we'll probably see Trent then getting back to the usual bomb and pass Salah and providing that overlap rather than maybe like an underlap so to speak. But it was nice to see that, wasn't it? Like those little triangles, and I mean, yeah, it's good signs going forward that we've got someone that good that's come back from a loan, that people maybe expected him to go back out on loan as well, and the fact that he's coming in and grabbed his chances, it's boss to see, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I had a feeling now that he would have kept him kept him at the club, because I think he's shown things last year. He was brilliant for Blackburn last year, of course. I mean, he really turned up in some games, got some great goals, and the way Klopp was talking about him, even when he was at Blackburn at the time, you knew Klopp you know, he's one of his little sons here. And you know the way Klopp gives you that hug? It's like an appreciation hug that when he hugs you, you know you're going to be involved in the team. I had a feeling him and Curtis Jones, I know Curtis Jones hasn't been really involved, but he will. I knew those two young lads coming up through would get a chance this season. And Liverpool, I know I don't have to mention it, but probably say, well, we won't have to sign a player in that position. We've got an 18-year-old who could potentially be the player in the next 2 or 3 years. So why would you go out and spend 40 or 50 bloody million when you have this guy ready-made? But it's huge confidence. It's huge confidence. It must be a huge confidence for Elliot to be, you know, waking up and saying, you're starting against Chelsea, by the way, today. You're starting against Chelsea in midfield. Yeah. You know, with the likes of Thiago on the bench. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Wow.
Getting ahead of those type of caliber of players is amazing in itself, isn't it? But let's get stuck into the game a little bit. And obviously Chelsea go 1-0 up after 20 minutes. And Havertz header. It was a good header, but I'm still convinced that he didn't mean it. I'm still convinced that that's a flick on. I mean, if he did mean it, I mean, if he got asked and he said he meant it, I wouldn't believe him. I think that's still a clip to the back post. That, but I mean, a good goal, wasn't it? And I think it was kind of a bit of a sucker punch, like halfway through the half, and it was kind of like we had to regroup a little bit from there, didn't we?
Well, to be fair, Chelsea kicked on from that when that goal went in and had 1 or 2 other chances where I thought, you know, if they would have got the second goal, it probably would have been game over. But I don't think he meant that. I really don't. When you run to the front post and try flick it, you're really looking at someone coming in the back post maybe, or maybe a chance of it going in. But to direct it like a postage stamp top corner, I mean, even Alisson was surprised by it. I can't believe he meant that goal. But listen, it went in. Chelsea, you know, obviously grew confidence from that. Liverpool went into a bit of a shell. The crowd quietened down because the crowd were up. I mean, you were at the game. The crowd, the first 15, just before they scored, it was. I say the atmosphere. It seemed anyway on television like it was a proper atmosphere. But when you know yourself, you let a goal against a good Chelsea side, and they had, as I say, Lukaku didn't really do much in the game, but did 1 or 2 breaks, and Havertz was decent, just wide. I think it was Mason Mount just wide of the post. And I was a little worried, to be fair, when they had just scored about 5 minutes later. I was a little worried, but eventually we got back into it.
Yeah, I think that when Mason Mount breaks through there, I was literally, I think I shit my pants basically, because I thought if that's 2-0, that's going to be difficult to get back with a Chelsea team that obviously we'll get on to the second half in a minute, but we know how good they are defensively with their setup and whatever. But just before the goal, though, the Liverpool goal, Bobby went off. I think it was like a minute or 2 before. I think it's a hamstring issue, isn't it? But Jota comes on, and I think it's probably, I mean, there's no good time to get an injury, but it's probably a good, and as there is time when we've got a break now until the 12th of September when we play Leeds. So we need them back ready for that, hopefully, don't we?
We do, but you know what? That disrupted us as well because of the fact that we Jota on the bench. Jota's on the bench to maybe come on last 20-25 if we need a goal and go for it at Anfield with a home crowd, not to come on midway through the first half with an injury and then all your options are reduced and you've already used up 1 of your 3 subs. You know what I mean? So there's a few things happened in the first half. We'll get to that now just before half time, but there's a few things that happened that didn't suit us in the game. You know what I mean? And that was one of them because I am 100% sure Jota would have come on maybe even half an hour to go. You know what I mean? Half an hour to go if you weren't back in that game. But because we had to use him up in a bad circumstance through an injury, not through tactics or anything else, just because Bobby got injured, I don't think helped us, to be fair.
Yeah, it was one of them, wasn't it, where I think even like just before the second half, Jota was out, just like warming up. Like he didn't have really enough time to kind of get himself ready because obviously you can't predict that someone's going to get pull a hammy like that, and especially Bobby, who doesn't really doesn't really get injured that much, does he? But I mean, obviously, Jen, not long after that, we'll come to the main talking point, which is the red card for Reece James, which for me is the most. I think that's one of the easiest red cards and penalties you'll ever see, and I've seen a load of people on Twitter, like obviously Chelsea fans and whatever, saying that it's hit his knee first or whatever, but the way that brushing motion with his arm, and he's like,
the one where he goes, it rolls up his arm. It's like one of those those guys do all the football things where it rolls down. He rolled up his bleeding arm. Like he touched it nearly 6 times in one movement. How can you do that? I know. Listen, it was a penalty, and it was a red card. It's a horrible double whammy, though, isn't it? I mean, it's really like giving you 2 penalties, really. You're penalised twice, red card and penalty. 47th minute, like, you know, it's seconds away from that goes wide, or it's going to be halftime. Chelsea win at 1-0. Mo Salah steps up, beautiful penalty. There's no doubt he's going to score. 99 league goals, only needs one for the 100. But here's a controversial little curveball. I think that sending off, never mind the penalty and going in at 1-1 at halftime, sometime it didn't actually suit us, and I'll tell you why. It made Chelsea regroup at halftime and go into their shell a bit, because they knew they had 10 men. They're going to say, listen, we've 10 men second half at Anfield here. We're not going to go. We're just going to try catch them on the break, sit back. We needed them to come at us more. You know what I mean? Open up more. And that didn't suit us. So you could say the 10 men, although it's great, you know, second half, you should be beating 10 men. Sometimes, and it didn't suit us at Anfield on Saturday, it would have been better going in 1-1 with the penalty, maybe getting a yellow. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
if that makes sense. You know?
I agree. Well, yeah, because obviously then once you get the you score the goal, it's 1-1.
You're up anyway.
If they keep Reece James on the field, they then come out going, well, we've played so well in the first half, we've went 1-0 up. They've got a penalty, which was a deserved penalty. If they keep Reece James on the field, then, like you said, it's more of an open game, and they're willing to take more risks, where they didn't do that. And I mean, I've seen a lot of people saying that it was a defensive masterclass and whatever else. But like you said, I don't think, what other option did they really have? A full Anfield, like you said, just at the perfect time, handball. They're down to 10 men. They've conceded. There's not much else for anything else after that. The only option really in my mind is just regroup. And like you said, just kind of, defensive rear guards. If we can counter, which they did a few times, and I was a bit worried by, I thought they might nick one.
Listen, you can't blame Chelsea. You can't blame Chelsea. I mean, we might have done that if it was at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's 1-1 at half time. You're down to 10 men. You're hardly going to go for them or go for the juggler in the second half. You'd probably lose the game. You have a better chance of losing the game. You know what I mean? So, and I mean, they've some bench as well. They've some team. I mean, they're going to be up there. They're going to be thereabouts. I mean, Chelsea. I mean, a draw against Chelsea isn't a terrible result. But you could see Twitter, you could see the TikTok fans all over the place giving out about, you know, the TikTok Reds, as I call them, giving out about, you know, you should be beating them, you should be doing this, you should. As I just said to you, sometimes 10 men just doesn't work, and sometimes it does. We've seen what City did to, was it Norwich or someone the other day, and pissed on them. But we're playing Chelsea. We're not playing Norwich, or we're not playing, you know, a lower level team. Chelsea are a top team and know how to defend. And their goalkeeper was particularly good. So I'm not reading a huge amount into it, Mick, to be fair. I really amn't. The only thing I would read into it is when I looked at the bench at the start of it, and I see people doing Twitter checking, wow, that bench looked decent. That looked as strong a bench as I've ever seen for Liverpool. I mean, B&Q would have been happy with that bench. That bench was top notch. Top notch. But the only thing was, we were missing a little percentage of another little striking option. Michael Edwards, please, are you listening? So I know there's about 30 hours left, less than 30 hours left in the transfer window. So if there's any sort of thing we could talk about or give out about, there's just that little area. And we know Bobby's going to be out for a few weeks. I know there's international break, and it probably won't matter. But I think something needs to be done there going forward, you know?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I am surprised that we haven't, to be fair, and I don't know if that's a Klopp decision or we just can't afford it or whatever. But I've got a stat for you. Then I mean, there's loads of comments here that I haven't had a chance to look through yet, but I'll do that after I've gave you this one. That's Mo Salah's 14th penalty in a row that he's scored in the Premier League. Only Matt Letizia has scored more, which was 23. In a row between 94 and 2000, that's without missing one. It's amazing, isn't it?
Jesus, I'll tell you what, that's an amazing stat from Matt Letizia. Holy shit. Ridiculous. He was, do you know what? He was a luxury player, silky player, wasn't he? I remember him playing for I'm of that age for Southampton. He was some bleeding player, him. But listen, Salah, look, we can talk about, you could do a podcast on Salah, let's be fair. I mean, that was his 99th goal. Salah's the type of player that when he steps up to take a penalty, you know it's going in. I'd be nervous when penalties, you know, international teams are fellas are going to miss, or not with Salah. You know he's going to score. And as that stat proves, he does score. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But, I always get nervous though. Like every time he steps up, I don't know if it's the angle of the run, and it's the jumps that he does, and then it's like is he going to balloon it over or whatever? But he's took one in the Champions League final. He's took one to send like Egypt to the whatever it was. I can't even remember
that was his biggest penalty. He said, I know the Champions League final one as well against Spurs, but that one he scored for Egypt near the end of the game. Took Egypt into the World Cup for the first time. I think it was 1990 when they were there. They're actually in Ireland and England's group in the World Cup, if you remember.
Yeah. But yeah, like it's I don't know if it's me just thinking, he's gonna. It's the way he runs at it, but yeah, I don't know why I doubt him anymore because he's just like I said, he's absolutely lethal from the spot, and fair enough. But yeah, let's get stuck into these comments because there's been fucking loads to be fair. So nice one for jumping in. I've got Amida Red 1-1 against 10-man defense is okay. We'll take them at their place. Lukaku. Yeah, fair enough. You know what? Seeing a few comments on, and I knew walking back from the match that they were all gonna target that one moment in the first half where Lukaku kicked Van Dijk's leg and Van Dijk fell over. They're gonna use that as like he's battered him, he's knocked him over with his strength. It's like he hasn't, mate. He kicked his leg and Van Dijk fell over. So apart from that though, he controlled him, didn't he? Him and Matip were
Matip was brilliant. Matip's been brilliant in the last 3 games. And never even mind Van Dijk. Matip's just because Van Dijk's beside him, we always mention Van Dijk and he came back for the big injury. But I'll tell you what, Matip is as important to us. He really is. If Matip can stay fit, that's Liverpool's problem. We know what happened last year, but if we keep our spine fit, I've been saying this all last month, because of the fact the transfer window doesn't look like it's going to end too nicely tomorrow, and you never know. But if it doesn't, we just got to keep our players fit. The spine of the team, the Alissons, the Van Dijks, the Matips, the Cadas, the Hendos, the people that get injured have to stay fit, and we'll have a good season.
Yeah, I think that also, speaking about players getting injured, and like I said before, I was surprised Keita didn't probably start that one after playing the first 2, but I think that's got to come into your thinking as well, hasn't it? Like Klopp's thinking that he doesn't want to maybe overload him with games, and he needs to maybe tailor his games a little bit more so we can therefore be more available. I don't know.
Well, he knew there was an international break, didn't he?
That's what that's the only thing I could think of. That was the only reason, because I was sure it would definitely be Keita, to be honest, on that left-hand side, because then Hendo had to get shoehorned on the left, which he's not comfortable with. I think you could see that. Elliott shone on the right, but I think it was, I don't know, it was a bit lopsided for me a little bit in a game.
Would you brought Thiago on earlier, maybe at half-time, just to give us that bit more control in the midfield, or what would you done there?
I think so, because I think he came on like 50 minutes to go. I don't think that's enough time. And I think coming on for Hendo, I know we saw how good Harvey Elliott was, but I think I would have probably brought Elliott off, to be honest, and then put Hendo on the right, and put Thiago on the left. And I think that then you get a bit more, then it allows Trent to bomb on a bit more. Those overlaps, like I said, we didn't really have, because, like you said, the triangles that Salah, Elliott and Trent were making, Trent was a bit more inside, wasn't he? Where we probably needed them as far over as we possibly could to get to whip those balls in. So, it was a good vote of confidence for Elliott, but I was surprised. But then, we just don't know what Klopp's thinking is in terms of Elliott with Keita and Thiago, who hasn't played that much footy as well. So maybe he was just kind of thinking to try and keep them.
The problem is, though, as you see on all the social media things, whatever team Klopp picks, it's going to be a problem. Robertson comes in, starts. Robertson's probably been, top 5-6 players for Liverpool in the last 3-4 years. So people giving out about him coming back and playing. And Tsimikas, who they were giving out about only 3 weeks ago, that he wasn't good enough to play for Liverpool, all of a sudden they're giving out that he's not playing ahead of Robertson. So, I try not to listen to this bullshit. You know what I mean? It's crazy shit. Crazy.
That's what I mean, because in hindsight, you can say anything. Like Twitter is basically, this is how I sum Twitter up. It's a game of roulette, and people just throw the fucking chips on every single number, because then you can go, I told you. There you go. I told you. Because you play, if you scatter that much bullshit, it's good. One of them is going to come up, and then you can go, there you go.
One of them got a stick. Isn't that
exactly? You can just pull that tweet up and go, there you go. Told you all. I knew. I'm better than Klopp. I know what I'm doing. But fucking hell, let's get stuck onto these again. So we've got Ravi, nice one for jumping in, mate. Big up, should have won the game, and the red card was right, definitely. He's also just put Lukaku was overrated. Let's go down to Rob. Why didn't Klopp see we quickly ran out of ideas in the second half? he had options like Keita on the bench, but refused. Yeah, thoughts on that? I mean, like you said, Thiago came on with 15 minutes to go. Then he brought on Tsimikas with 5 minutes to go. Obviously, the Jota one was an enforced injury because Bobby was injured.
Why didn't he bring on someone like Ox that can break the lines and maybe get a goal for you with 20 minutes to go?
I think
Do you know what I mean?
A good shout. Yeah, because I can't remember the shot in the box, and I think Ox obviously gives you that shooting from range, and I think
Ox for Elliott, as you just said. I mean, Elliott, listen, I'm not giving out about Elliott. He was probably one of our man of the match probably on the team that day. But what I'm saying is, with 20 to go, you throw everything at it. There's a chance here we can beat Chelsea. We're against 10 men. I just sometimes now Klopp. We know Klopp doesn't like risks. He rarely takes risks in big games. This was a big game. He rarely does it. He likes keeping it tight. He doesn't like overcommitting, and maybe that's why he kept it tight in the midfield. He was afraid maybe of their counter. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, not claiming to know more than Klopp, are we? But you know what I mean. Like you said, in hindsight, you can say whatever. But yeah, it is. I mean, Thiago. I think the one for me is not bringing Thiago on a little bit earlier, even just 5 minutes, because you saw as soon as he got on the ball, he was pinging it left and right, and he just takes 1-2 touch and it's out to the wing straight away. So it's that quick play we needed, didn't we? To kind of, because it was a bit laboured a little bit, like especially towards the end, where it was kind of like, I think the players themselves seemed to like resigned to the fact that we weren't going to get that goal. It felt like anyway in the crowd a little bit where we're just kind of like knocking on the door, but it wasn't like a full knock. It was just a little tiny tap on the door rather than, like you said, going for it, going all guns a-blazing to kind of turn over the European champions. And that would have been great if we did.
Well, it would have been a little bonus, wouldn't it? But the thing about it is as well, bringing on players with 15 to go, it takes about 10 minutes to get into the rhythm of the game. So you're only really in the game for 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, even 20, even 25 gives you 15 being in the game. Now I know certain players can be in the game within the first touch. Top level players like Thiago, but I always find that with players, sometimes it takes them a few minutes just to get in. It depends on a big high intensity game, a big game like that. You know what I mean? I just don't get that late substitution things. I just don't get it. Yeah,
and I think, to be honest, though, it's like another thing where if it's maybe a lesser team, bringing on Thiago at that point might have more of an impact, because it was Chelsea, and like you said, they were so deep, so compact, and like I said, their keeper was, I mean, he made a few quite good saves, but it was the plucking the corners and free kicks out of the air and catching them that takes up so much pressure off your defence, and he seemed to do that with real ease, and I think that kind of gave them a lot of confidence, knowing that they've got a good goalie there, and it wasn't fucking Kepa in goal, who he's always a second away from fucking dropping the ball or whatever. So
no, he's a big lad, and he controlled his box basically, what a good goalkeeper should always do. Never mind about anything else, pulling off saves. Controlling your box and your 6-yard area, he did that very well on corner kicks and balls in. Some of our crosses that were far too close to him, really, weren't they? For a big lad like that, we tried it 2 or 3 times in the first half. It didn't work, but we kept on doing it second half. And it just wasn't working, and that's where you run into desperation. It's 1-1. You're expected to win because it's 10 men. There's 15 minutes to go. The crowd are baying you. You're ready to rock, and you're just lumping the ball in. Bit more, nuanced I thought we should have been, but listen, it's hindsight, the game's over,
Yeah, I think corners, especially where it's kind of floated in, and the keeper's like 6'7", and if he's jumping in the air, you're not going to beat him. Let's be honest. The corner needs to be bob on the money, and I think that was another little thing. Maybe could have been a bit better, but yeah. Let's have a look what else we've got. We've got Jack Mack. Nice one for jumping in, Jack. All right, lads. Hope you enjoyed Leeds. First, Mick. Harvey's going to save his millions. Will be interesting if Jurgen selects him in Europe. Yeah, definitely. I think AC Milan first game at home. That's going to be tough group, isn't it? I mean, me and Jay were meant to do a Champions League draw reaction on that, and we didn't get around to doing one. But yeah, that group's pretty tasty, isn't it?
Do you know what? It is a tough group. People are saying AC Milan aren't all this. I think you're 8th or 9th in La Liga, in the Premier Liga in Italy. But they're AC Milan. You know what I mean? And they've got a young squad, a really tasty young squad. They'll give us a game. And if you watched the Europa League, did they beat United? United beat them in the semi, was it the quarters last year? But I'll tell you what, over the 2 legs, I thought Milan had more chances.
Yeah.
It was like Wolves yesterday against United. They probably had twice the amount of chances, still lost the bloody game. I don't know how they get away with it, but that's another podcast. FC Porto are a team we know very well. Yeah. They'll give us a game. I know we've a great record against them. We really do. And our nemesis, Atletico Madrid, Simeone masterclass incoming. So that's going to be tough. It's a tough group. But sometimes it's nice to have a group like that where you're going into it knowing you're going to have to be top notch here to get out of this group, rather than there's one or two Mickey Mouse games against Maitland and these type teams, and you take the foot off the pedal. So we know, there's tough games coming up, because I think we've got an Atletico home and away double in between two games, don't we? First two AC.
Yeah, let me have a little quick look. Actually, I've got
AC Porto, and then I think it's Atletico twice, which would be tough,
Yeah, so we've got AC Milan on the 15th of September at home. Then we've got Porto away, 28th of September. And then Atletico away on 19th of October. So, yeah.
Wow. Tough.
I mean, I think AC Milan and Porto, I think they're more like names, because they've always had good teams over the years and whatever else. Yeah. Obviously, won the Champions League under Mourinho and whatever else. And AC Milan obviously got great pedigree, European, and they've still got a good team, to be fair. But Atletico Madrid, that's going to be the main rivals for that one. But yeah, like you said, it's better to have those type of teams and those names come up against, because you can raise your game. And I think when we come up against bigger teams, I think that's when you see the proper Liverpool, I think, anyway. So hopefully that'll be a good little thing we can look forward to. But let's have a little look through these other comments. We've got John Moore. Hey guys, hope you are keeping well. Nice one for jumping in, mate. Let's see what else we've got. Ravi's in again. I'll just pick this one because it's a compliment. David, all their opinions. Can't agree more with them.
Quick, take the photograph, quick.
Jack's spun another one. The intensity and tempo of both teams before the Red was great. Quickest I've seen all season. 3 weeks in. Yeah, defo. It was. I was in the ground, and it was. Yeah, that atmosphere was just. It was boss. To be fair, it was lovely, and I think it was just nice to be. Obviously, after the Burnley game, I think 12:30 kickoffs are notoriously quiet, because just everyone's like, especially having to get there so early. Everyone was like a bit cranky, maybe getting up early and having to get to the ground for 10:30, trying to queue up to get in and whatever else. But 5:30 on a Saturday after everyone's been out in the pubs all day. Exactly. So
they're all in Taggy's bars, a Taggy hotel Tia there, Taggy's
bar. Yeah. Well, there's a few. I was in May Duncan's, which is not far away, with Jay and that, and it was good little atmosphere. I had a few bevies and that, and then just walked down. But I think I made it in with like 2 minutes to spare, to be fair, because the queue was it was mental. I think I got there for 4:45. I got in for 2 minutes to kick off. So
is it working now with the tickets? I know there was a problem with the Burnley game and the friendlies, but is it working a bit better now? The queues.
I think it's working. I just think that the queues are a bit mad, because obviously it's not quite the same as it was. Like, it's not like a bit of a free for all, but the queues, like for in my turnstile anyway, I was in S. It was like, fucking hell, because I hadn't been in that seat before, so I didn't really know where the turnstile began, because I wasn't really used to that side, really. So I was walking down, and I got like 10 minutes walking down past a massive queue, and I was thinking to myself, I hope this fucking queue isn't my queue. Got to the beginning of the queue, and then I asked the fella, and he was like, yeah, that is your queue, and I had to walk back. And I was like, oh. But yeah, just made it in just in time, so thank fuck for that. I didn't want to miss any of the game, to be fair, so I was just happy I got in. But Dave, we've done half an hour there. Let's leave it there. Let everyone get back to their bank holiday Mondays. I'm off in a bit for a little meal and a few little drinks before going back to reality tomorrow. So Dave, where can we find you anyway? Obviously, you've got Dave's LFC chat there, but that's on YouTube and it's same on Twitter and Instagram and everything else. Yeah,
it's the same. At Dave's LFC chats, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
Nice. Well,
nice and simple, baby. Nice and simple.
But I think I've put the link in the description, and if I haven't, then I'll do it straight after this video's we've finished going live, which will be in a second. But nice one, Dave, jumping on, and nice one to everyone in the comments. There's been absolutely loads in there, and I'm sorry if I didn't get to yours, but I do this thing where when you go to the end of the video and then there's loads of comments, I end up spending like an hour just reading through the comments and discussing all the different topics. So I didn't want to be here all night and bore the life out of you, and I'm sure Dave wanted to get back to his
I'm grand. I could go till midnight. And we didn't even mention one name.
Oh, Michael Edwards. Well, let's mention that if you want. What?
Yeah, we'll have a little. We finished the last 2 minutes with obviously the news today, the breaking news. The sporting director, Liverpool sporting director Michael Edwards, has a year's left in his contract. Looks like he's going to leave Liverpool. Although Madrid were interested in him and taking him on board, and Liverpool have Julian Ward as his assistant who can step in and are very impressed with. We've heard the staff at Klopp and all the guys, Mike Gordon and all them are very impressed with him. So it'd probably be a straight swap. But I mean, he's been brilliant for us guys. We all know what Michael Edwards is. He's like a bloody magician. I mean, he was involved with the Salah deals, Mane deals, Van Dijk deals, Fabinho deals, the Coutinho deal, 142 million for Coutinho, which brought us basically the spine of Alisson, Van Dijk, and Fabinho out of that money. And we're still owed money. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, it's just. I mean, he's been involved in the Solanke deal. He was involved in the Brewster's millions deal. He was involved with that. I mean, there's so many deals involved where you're going, what? He got that much for that guy. Yeah. So this guy is intelligent. He's switched on. He's not guaranteed he's going to go. It's just his contract goes in a year, and he might want to he's been there nearly 9 years or so. He might just want to move on. But listen. We don't stand still, the club. He has been brilliant for the club, but he mightn't go. But we'll see what happens. What's your take on Michael Edwards?
I think he's obviously, there's been a lot of like, when we do a good deal, it's like, oh yeah, get Mickey Edwards a statue outside the ground and whatever. And like you said, some of the deals that he's done, like Solanke was like, what, 20 million?
25 or something ridiculous.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous, really. That he managed to get that, which is, and like you said, Coutinho and getting Van Dijk in and Alisson and whatever. It's like, but I think he's been here that long now that maybe like the structure's in place anyway for that. Obviously, when he does leave, there's, like you said, I think his name's Julian Ward, is it that?
Yeah.
Hopefully it's like a smooth thing where he can just kind of carry on where Michael Edwards left off and keep us ticking over in that regard anyway. So it should be sound. But yeah, like I said, he's been here a long time anyway, hasn't he? So it's probably, like I said, he probably wants to do, maybe if he wants to go and do something else at some other club, and he maybe wants to be CEO of another club. So a lot of options for him, definitely, especially after doing so good for us. So that's on the CV, so it looks good. So it's fucking
absolutely
world is oyster. So we'll get out of here anyway. So nice one, Dave, again. Nice one to everyone in the comments. You've been absolutely legends. And we'll see us probably I don't even know when actually. Got Leeds on the 12th of September. So we might try and squeeze in a show this week sometime about maybe, transfer news. If there's some transfer news.
Whoa, tomorrow night.
We'll do a show. But yeah, nice one, everyone.
Guys.
And we'll see you all in a bit.
Space up.